Hi everybody, I just had a few more things that I wanted to add to our discussion or to clarify things that may not have been completely discussed in the last few classes regarding Gentile's taxonomy and your exam on Thursday. So this is in addition to the review that we had for the exam, and I can tell you that what is in this slide presentation will also be on the exam on Thursday. So the first thing that I wanted to do was make sure to define what spatial and temporal factors in the environment are. The term spatial refers to where things are in space. The term temporal refers to the timing of those objects. So consider that in closed skills, there really aren't temporal factors because there aren't moving objects in closed skills. Whereas in open skills, there are temporal factors. For example, the ball is moving towards me and I want to catch it. So I have to either move to where it's going to be or move to where it's going to be and open my glove and catch the ball or receive the ball. Same in soccer. If I'm running down the field and my teammate is dribbling the soccer ball and going to pass it to me, I have to get to the place where the soccer ball is going to be because it's moving in space. So those would be the temporal factors, and temporal factors are only important in, let me rephrase this, environmental temporal factors are only important in open skills. I want you to also realize, and I'm going to talk about this in later lectures, that we have our own timing to movement that we're doing, and those would be considered temporal components of our movement. What I'm talking about here today are the temporal factors of the environment, and also you'll see in the next slide referring to how fast the individual is actually moving or how fast the vehicle is moving that individual is in. So I have been talking about the dead space, and this is a very important period of time because it represents basically a time when we are kind of stuck in responding to a stimulus, and we get another stimulus during that time period, and we can't respond to the second stimulus until the first stimulus has actually been responded to. So the dead space is a period of time when we are unable to respond. And if you remember in lecture class several times, I indicated that if a student put his or her foot out in front of me while I was walking up the steps, if there wasn't sufficient time for me to see that foot, to process it, meaning perceive it, make a decision, make an organization of response, then I would not be able to respond to that particular stimulus or secondary task. So think about this. The faster that somebody is going relates to the dead space. So if a person is moving very slowly, she or he may set the visual field in a space that's somewhat close to him or her to be able to pick up information, obviously that's close, but it's going to take some time for that individual to actually get to that place. Whereas a person who's moving quickly or in a vehicle that's moving quickly, It's important to set the visual field much broader and further because the dead space is actually lengthened. So what I want you to consider online in a pop quiz is, how does the visual field change due to speed? Or in other words, how might the dead space change when you're moving slowly and when you're moving quickly? If you go to the discussion page, there'll be a 1-point pop quiz for you to take before the midterm exam on Thursday. Exam 1 will consist of 35 multiple choice items. Each will consist of 5 choices. The 4th and the 5th choice in my multiple choice items have, for response D, they usually have A and B, or B and C, or A and C, and then E is usually all of the above. This kind of test requires that you take it, or that you approach it with a strategy that will help you to pass the test. Make sure to read the STEM. The STEM is what we would refer to as the item question, or what the item is actually querying about. And then you have 5 foils. You should read each of the foils after understanding what the STEM is about. If you think that a foil is accurate, then put a circle around it. If you think it's inaccurate or not meaningful, then put a line through the letter of that choice. Then look at all of the choices and make your decision based upon how many circles you have, rather than just looking for the right words or something that looks familiar to you. This requires recall, so make sure that you are prepared for the test, and it is an objective test with 35 multiple choice items. You have to bring a T&E 200, the standardized answer sheet, to the exam. Make sure that the answer sheet is completely filled in with your name and your ID. If it requires what class we're in and what the number for our class is, please be sure to put all of that information on the T&E 200 before coming to class. This way you can use your time to take the test. The T&E 200 will work best if you use a pencil that's a number 2 pencil, and make sure that if you erase, that the area is clean of the erasure and also as clear as possible where you've erased, and also as dark as possible and complete as possible for the letter of the correct choice. I'll see you on Thursday, everybody. I hope you have a great day.